Hey everyone, French Tutor here. Today I wanted to share some tips and tricks that will help you have an easier time and also some common mistakes to avoid when you are just starting out. There are a lot of new and overwhelming things to learn in the beginning, and I want you to have the easiest experience possible. Also, if you have played Genshin Impact before, a lot of the habits and logic from that game does not apply in this one, and they will actually hinder your progress. So for those of you who did not play Genshin Impact, you have an advantage here. If you end up finding something useful, please make sure to like and subscribe. My goal is to hit 10,000 subs and I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Alright then, let's get on with the video. Let's start off with some combat tips. When you're fighting an enemy, you can see an estimate of how much of their toughness you can reduce, but it is not always accurate. For example, you can see with Asta that her normal attack and skill will reduce this enemy's toughness by the same amount. However, the game doesn't account that her skill hits multiple random enemies, but since only one enemy is left on the field, it will be hit multiple times. So when I use her skill, you can see that it significantly reduces the enemy's toughness, and this is one of the best ways to break down an enemy's toughness bar. This also works for Walt's skill with the same idea. On to the next tip. Some attacks damage two enemies next to your target, so when you try to hit an enemy on the far left or far right, you can only damage one additional enemy. But did you know that same logic applies to the enemy as well when they are attacking you? This makes character placement surprisingly important. If you have a character that is likely to be targeted, you should put them on the far left or far right. A basic example would be putting March 7th on the far left or far right when she shields herself, since her shield increases the chances of enemies attacking you. Other examples would be Clara with March's shield, or Fire Trailblazer when they use their taunt. Now you can worry about one less ally getting caught in the crossfire. Now let's talk about resource management. When you start this game, you are told to manage your resources carefully, especially in the late game. However, saving too many resources in the beginning actually does more harm than good. You'll soon realize it'll be harder to progress in the game because you didn't invest anything into your characters. You will struggle with even the basic things such as accessing precious chests that are protected by strong enemies. It's different from Genshin because you can literally get away with not building your characters at all in the early game. And just to save some people time, there's even a battle in the story and they require your entire team to be at least level 30. It sounds very restricting, but it is for your own good to start investing into your characters early on in this game. So now here's my advice on how you should use and save your resources. Build your support characters. They usually get the short end of the stick when it comes to team building. People usually think they should invest the most in damage and power only, and if you're a Genshin player, you're usually told not to invest too much into them. Now here's where that logic backfires in this game. In Genshin, you can just switch out your underleveled support character and keep them safe. But in this game, all four characters are all out in the field at the same time, meaning everyone has a chance to be attacked, so any underleveled character will die quickly. Also, you can't use food or items during combat, which makes it harder for any underleveled characters to stay alive. With this in mind, survivability is crucial for support, so you really need to invest more in them than you normally would, because if they fall in combat, it can really cost you a battle on higher difficulties, especially if it's a long one and if the characters are healers or shielders. But don't max out everything either. You should save any emergency resources for any new characters you may get or when you need to level up your other party members. Also, be mindful of who you build and the teams you make. It's very tempting to build a lot of characters, especially in the beginning when the game gives you a bunch of them or when you pulled for them. But before you start building, you should keep in mind that the game is a little restrictive and less flexible when it comes to team building. In Genshin, when you progress the main story and explore, you can literally build whoever you want, completely ignore building the main character, put whoever you want on your team, and make anyone a main DPS. But it's not like that in this game. First, each character is chosen a path for them, such as the Hunt or the Harmony. The game already decides what role each character will play in your team. Second, enemies have toughness and weaknesses, so you need to really consider which characters to use for every level and stage. Third, just letting you know ahead of time that the main story will require you to have the main character Trailblazer in a battle. Keep all of this in mind before you start spending your resources. Now when it comes to actually building your characters, don't be afraid to level up early game equipment like 3-star light cones and relics. Light cones don't just give you more damage and a weapon passive, It also gives you HP and defense, which will increase your survivability, so don't be afraid to level up 3-star light cones. Because 1, good 4-star light cones are hard to come by in the very beginning unless you get lucky in your summons, and 2, some of them are actually really good, especially when you get duplicates of them and superimpose them. For example, the Amber Light Cone works extremely well with March 7th's kit, giving her a lot of defense which helps make stronger shields. As Superimposition 5, it goes from 16% defense to 32% defense. And later, when you do find better weapons, you can feed your old weapon into it. Although there's an experience loss, but it's totally worth it. Now the same deal with relics. Don't be afraid to level up 3-star relics or even 2-star ones if you really need them. I would only go up to level 6 max for 3-star ones and maybe 9 for 4-star relics until you get 5-star ones. Make sure to at least level up your gloves to at least level 3 or 6 because flat attack significantly boosts your damage in the early game, just like in Genshin where you level up your feather. Now let's talk about one tip for the simulated universe. There's one tool you can use to give you a much easier time. Before you start world level 2, go to the ability tree on the left. From here, you can unlock Path Resonance. When you unlock this, you can pick a path to assist you during your run. Each path's resonance is pretty much an AoE ultimate attack you can use on enemies, and they are super strong. In order to unlock this, you just need to choose 3 blessings of the path you chose throughout your run. In my case, it's the Hunt path. In combat, its meter will show on the right. Once it's filled up by amassing 100 energy, you can use it at any time. I highly recommend using it when bosses summon more enemies since it will clean them right up. Well, I did my best to share some tips and tricks that may help you. If you found the video helpful, please make sure to like and subscribe for more Honkai Star Rail content. I really appreciate you for watching my video. Take care now. Bye.